Hey, my name is Clay Ingram, and I'm the state representative for District 2 in Pensacola. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience in college playing football. I played football at Florida State University. I was the long snapper, which is sort of like the center on field goals and punts. And I played from 1996 through 2000. My first game was against Duke, and the last game of my career was in 2000, the 2000 Sugar Bowl against Virginia Tech for the national championship, which was a very cool way to end my career. I played for Bobby Bowden, which was a great experience. He was I think when all said and done, he'll be viewed as one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. So that was a really neat way to go to college, a lot of stories to reflect back on, and just sort of an experience I'll never forget that was it enriched my life tremendously. I was asked a little bit about a typical day in the life of a college athlete. Our typical day would start early in the morning. We'd have breakfast at 7 a.m. or so, and classes usually started at around 8. And classes would go from 8 until noon on most days. And then there'd be enough time to scarf down a lunch and then run back either for classes or to do a workout. And we're usually required to work out a couple of days a week, maybe 3 days a week during the season. In the off season, much more than that. And then after afternoon classes or after a workout, then we would go right into football meetings, which were you spend almost as much time meeting as you do actually having practice. So we would have meeting time and watch film of the previous day's practice or of games that we had just played. And then from there we would go down to the locker room and get dressed and go to practice. And practice would be usually 2 to 2.5 hours. And then usually you'd be physically pretty tired after that, and then we would go and have dinner, and then go and have more meetings where we would watch video and film of the practice we had just had, and then afterward study, and then have a little downtime, but usually it was 10 o'clock or so by that time, and so usually you're pretty tired and want to get to bed as soon as possible. The typical week as a college student athlete, for us, typically our games were on a Saturday, and so the whole Saturday game day is taken up from, depending on if it's a morning or afternoon or evening game, it was taken up by the game. You typically would get up early and have breakfast meetings, and then if it was an evening game, there would be some downtime. But if it was a 3:30 kickoff, then it would be straight into preparing for the game. And then, after the game, there's treatment and things like that you have to do for injuries and things like that. And then if there's time afterward, you can go and spend time with your family and friends. But that entire day on game day on Saturday is taken up with the game in one way or another. For us, Sundays were a day where we would go in after a Saturday game. We would go in for treatment, and then you were required to be there to have injuries treated. And be there. Even if you didn't have an injury, you would need to go to the training room and check in, which was probably a way for the coaches to just kind of keep control of things and make sure everybody was on the same page there on Sunday. But we typically would not have football-related activities on Sunday. And then Monday was usually a light practice, and when I was there, it varied a little bit, but it would usually be a nighttime practice. And so the time normally in the afternoon where we would have meetings and practice would be all meetings, and then the physical part of practice going out on the field would be very light, and it would be correcting mistakes from the Saturday game. So Mondays were sort of a light day as far as practice. It was more of a mental challenge to try to correct mistakes from the game Saturday than it was a physical day of practice. Tuesdays, on the other hand, were the heavy day of practice. That's where the day you dreaded. If the game didn't go well on Saturday, Tuesday is the day that practice would be difficult and physical, and that would be the day you would have to run more and that sort of thing. So Tuesday was the day where you would physically be challenged more than you would on other days of the week. Wednesday would be the day that we would start to tone down just a little bit. It would still be a physical day of practice. Typically you would still be in helmets and shoulder pads and maybe shorts instead of leg pads as well, and that'd be a day that you would it was still a work day, but it would start to be a day where we'd back off a little bit and prepare for the next week's game. And then on Thursday was sort of the pre-game day, and that would be a very light practice, typically in helmets and shorts or sweats if it was a cold day, and it would be not a lot of physical contact, but again, a lot of mental preparation and polishing, I think is a good way to put it. And then Friday, if we would either travel to the location if it was an away game, or if it was a home game, and this is something that I think was one of the favorite things we did, we would travel to Thomasville, Georgia, and we would stay the night in Thomasville, and the point was to get away from the distractions that we would have at home, and so you can focus on the game and not spend time, with typically, your family would come in on Friday, so it gets you away from the distractions of having people around, allows you to be with your teammates, eat dinner together, meet together, and talk about the game, and focus on the task at hand. And that was one of the favorite things we did. Traveling was fun too. You're with your friends, you're away from home, a little bit of freedom, and yet you're there for a purpose, which was to win a football game. But you get to spend some time together, either being on a plane or riding the bus to Thomasville, which was only 45 minutes away from Tallahassee. So those are some of the fondest memories I have, is spending time with my teammates, traveling to and from either the away game or the bus travel to Thomasville, Georgia. Some of the biggest challenges I faced as a student athlete had to do with time management and balancing the need for academic success versus wanting to be successful in athletics. And both were important. Obviously, academics are important, but athletic success was important as well for a multitude of reasons. Number one, you had 80,000 fans coming to watch you on game day, and millions more on television. And if you weren't prepared, there's the business aspect to it too. I mean, there are people whose careers depend on you doing well, and fans obviously want a quality product on the field on Saturday. So there was pressure there, and it was important to succeed and put in hard work there. And then again, obviously the academics are important because academics are important, period. And then they help you succeed in life later on. So the challenge was to achieve the balance, to be able to put the time in studying, put the time in practicing. You only have 24 hours in the day, like everybody does, but to know where to focus and what to focus on, and that was important. And it took a little while to learn that. I think that was one of the biggest challenges as a freshman, was learning how to allocate time. But I think it's something that you learn, and it helps you mature. And as you mature, you learn to do that correctly. So that was by far the biggest challenge. I was asked a little bit about my favorite parts of being a student athlete. The thing I think back to the most, the things I miss, are my teammates and the relationships I had with my teammates. Good, bad, ugly, good times, bad times. You have these guys with you, and they become like family, and you spend so much time with them, more time than you did with your family when you were living at home, and more time with people you work with or go to school with. So they become like family, and they're there with you all the time. And of course, the good times are better than the bad, but it sure did help to have teammates there when things were not going well. They helped. We helped one another get through those times, and then to celebrate with your teammates when things are going well is by far the biggest thing that I miss and treasure from my time playing football. Some of the benefits of having been a student athlete in college, especially playing football, I think you learn the importance of dedication, teamwork, how to persevere when things are not going well, and then how to handle success as well. I was fortunate, and I know I mentioned this earlier, to play for Coach Bowden, and he was at that time right neck and neck with a couple of other coaches as being the all-time winningest coach in college football history, and to see him handle things day to day, to observe him handling his staff and learning how to be a CEO and handling fan pressure, media pressure, and all those sort of things. My benefit was I got to watch someone who was a great, not just coach, but someone who was a CEO of his organization, and got to observe him in action. So that was a huge benefit, something that's benefited me long term. All those things I mentioned, learning how to persevere and be enthusiastic when you're trying to achieve a task, those are all important and invaluable. Long term, specifically for me, being in Tallahassee was something I think that was a huge benefit. Being in the state capitol and then going into government, I built relationships with people in college. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was a student athlete, that I had access to certain people, not because it was special access, but just because you're sometimes doing more than a typical student. You're involved in more activities and attend more activities, so you have the chance to interact more with other people And some of those relationships that I formed because of being a student athlete have come to serve me well, and have parlayed into success later on in life. And it's almost hard to put up a value on that. It's just it's been tremendous, and it's something that I just know for a fact would not have happened had I not been a student athlete in college. When I was a senior in high school, getting ready to transition and making the decision to go to college, I had offers to play football, and at one point wavered or waffled in trying to decide whether or not I wanted to go the athletics route in college. And I had a coach. He was a baseball coach at the school. I played football, and I kind of confided in him one day that I was considering sort of going an easier route. Not that just going to college is easy. I mean, you have to work and put your dues in to go to college, no matter how you do it. But I just considered for a brief moment not going the athletic route. And he gave me advice at that time, which was invaluable, and it was to do it. If you have the opportunity to play sports in college, to do it. It gives you extra motivation. It allows you to be a part of something bigger than you are, and something that he told me later on in life I'd look back and regret it if I didn't take advantage of the opportunity. And I think he was right, and I decided to do it, and I'm glad I did. And so I would pass that advice along to anyone who has the chance to be athletically involved in college to do it. I think you learn lessons that are invaluable and serve you well in life. So some other things I'd like to pass along as far as advice goes. There are some very practical things, focusing on school. Either you have the athletic talent to play in college, or you don't. And so that's where academics become very important. When a school is trying to recruit a student athlete, talent's a given, but the thing that is the deciding factor a lot of times are grades and test scores. And so I would give the advice of focusing on academics, realizing the importance of academics when you're in high school, especially early in high school. Sometimes by the time you're a junior or senior, it's too late. So I would advise you to focus specifically on that kind of stuff. As far as advice and specifically football or athletics related, I would recommend, no longer is athletics something that you do in season. And I think this is not just for football, but all sports. They're year round. In football you have spring football, fall workouts, winter workouts, spring practice, summer practice, and you need to be in shape and able to learn and practice year round. So I would just give you the advice of working hard, go to as many camps and clinics as you can go to, and work hard year round. Get as strong as you can, as fast as you can, the right way. I would definitely make sure you avoid any sort of performance enhancing drugs or anything like that are a big temptation nowadays. Do that, and then also take some time to relax when it's appropriate. Around the holidays or a week or two in the summer, make sure you get away and at least take a little mental vacation and spend time with your family. But work hard and practice that balance a little bit that is so important of learning time management and being around. Juggling time with your friends versus athletics. So work hard, but also try to have a little bit of a balance and enjoy your life a little bit too at the same time, because that's something you can't get back later on.